It's Shadow Zapdos versus the Wild. We're going to block up the incoming Hydro Cannon, then overfarm before firing off the Drill Peck, removing Swampert from the field of play. The opponent led Venusaur, so it's unlikely to return. The opponent sends back out Venusaur, then try the luck, making the Drill Peck catch. Zapdos says, not today, trainer. Charizard going to be straight in and straight out. Back out comes Venusaur, and it's about to eat the Drill Peck to the face. Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday I faced somewhat of a dilemma. I've recently joined Team Island in Gym Breakers, and my Shadow Sableye was incorrectly registered as a regular variant. As this is the home of Shadow Pokemon, I certainly do not have one built. I didn't even have the Stardust after powering up Dusknoir, so I thought, shit, I'm going to have to get some Stardust. So here we are, trying out some spicy battles in the Open Ultra League. Back in Season 11, this was actually my go-to team. Well, actually, I'm going to correct myself. It was NoobGiratina's go-to team, my good friend, that I also used, however, did not create. This team was phenomenal back then. However, if you fast forward to this season, it has so many issues. The entire team gets clapped by an Incinerate user, and they are here, there, and everywhere. The recently buffed Shadow Feraligatr, also a huge problem. A Registeel can be a headache. However, I just wanted to get some battles done quick, and I do not care about Elo, so here we are. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we lead Sonic the Hedgehog into Dragonite. The opponent tries her luck, catching the Ice Punch onto Ampharos. Pretty pleased to see it here, as Zapdos is dreadful into this thing. It's dreadful into quite a lot of the meta, for me, I'm brutally honest. But certainly a fellow electric type is something we don't fancy that work out. I'm very happy to stay in, and we aren't baiting. We're going to send Drill Run. After Drill Run, the opponent chooses to test both Protect Shields. And at this point, I'm thinking Sandslash must be pretty useful. We know it's good against Dragonite. Perhaps it's even good against what's in the back. I heavily overfarm before firing off the Drill Run. Drill Run will be securing that one-hit knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Shadow Raikou. I am so jealous of this pick. And it's also a pretty cool team, but clearly Sandslash isn't a myth. Drill Run doesn't knock out. We get the Shadow Claw farm down, show him Clefable, and the opponent concedes the match. Huge shout out to that opponent, repping that triple Shadow Spice. In the next battle, we see one of Sonic the Hedgehog's downfalls. It's got a double weakness to both fire and fighting. We see Virizion in the lead. We say switch into Zapdos, and out comes Ampharos. Yeah, last battle, we hard countered the opponent, and this battle looks like us that's getting hard countered. Zapdos unable to survive the brutal swing, and we've already got our back against the wall. If we can Shadow Claw this thing down, perhaps we've got a good chance here. So we can get some Ice Punches ready for the return in Virizion. But Shadow on Shadow Crime, the Volt Switch and Brutal Swing combination is going to leave us far too low. The next Brutal Swing wouldn't actually knock out, but would put us into range where the opponent could double kick farm us down. So I opt to throw the Ice Punch. Virizion did one double kick before exiting, so we're going to throw 3 Shadow Claws. Look to catch the Sacred Sword onto Clefable, and let's hope this Fairy is a huge core breaker. Step 1 of the master plan is completed. We catch the Sacred Sword. The opponent stays in. Come on, trainer. You know you want to have Giratina in the back. Show me Giratina. Oh, man. It's Giratina's a very annoying partner in crime, Cresselia. Clefable Cresselia is pretty neutral, but not when we're severely chipped and not with 2 Protect Shields too hard behind. If I'm being honest, I probably should top left. I'm trying to speedrun battles, but I'm thinking perhaps we can pull off some shenanigans. We get the attack full. All that praying to the RNG gods clearly coming in clutch. I then attempt to go for the CMP sack. Evidently, I'm not very good at the game. As I didn't get it off, the opponent takes me out. We then overfarm with Clefable, fire off the Meteor Mash. The opponent unlikely to shield this. And is there a win con here? Probably not. I think the win con is the opponent trying to 2-shield flex on me. So we're going to full send the Moonblast. Does the opponent respect the damage? Of course they do. And I think at this stage, we're just going to say, you got me, and we're going to move swiftly on. In the next battle, we've got Sonic the Hedgehog into Tapu Fini, a pretty neutral matchup. We do have the pacing advantage here, as it takes Tapu Fini 14 Water Guns to the first surf and 13 to the second. It only takes us the equivalent of 12 Water Guns to the first 2 Drill Runs, so we do outpace. The opponent fires off the surf. We return fire with the Drill Run. The first one goes unshielded. We're going to fire off the second, which will either force a shield or the knockout. The opponent just completely sack Fini, and then they send out Skeledirge. Uh-oh. I pivot into Shadow Zapdos, drawing out Gator. You'd think an electric type into a water type is a pretty good matchup, but our super effective Thunder Shocks do less than the opponent's neutral Shadow Claws. And their cheapest charge move of Hydro Cannon does far more than our cheapest move of Drill Peck. You can see we're already below half health just from the Shadow Claw damage. I'm going to continue to masturbate my way through this matchup. Drill Peck doesn't get the job done, but we can now shield this up and commit to the Thundershock farm down. Back out comes Skeledirge. We're going to heavily overfarm before firing off the Drill Peck. Hopefully this goes unshielded. The opponent chooses to invest that protection. I bank the Drill Peck for the road and send out Clefable, knowing that Zapdos will be winning CMP in the end game. Clefable is completely walled here. However, the opponent makes a mistake. They should have committed to the next Shadow Ball, and this very much gives me a wink on. We're going to be able to reach a Moonblast. Moonblast should put this thing into Drill Peck range. I'm thinking, is that Drill Peck range? The opponent's one Incinerate off the next charge move, so I'm going to just come in with Sonic, throw 2 further Shadow Claws, force the energy, and if it wasn't already in Drill Peck range, it now certainly is. So we send back out Zapdos with the Drill Peck locked and loaded, and we're going to be able to take that game. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. That's kind of how it goes with Sonic. You either hard win lead or hard lose lead. It doesn't really find itself in too many neutral matchups. The opponent say switches into Virizion. They've only thrown 4 double kicks. That can only be a Sacred Sword or Leaf Blade. So we can tank it with them throw 3 Thunder Shocks, throw the Drill Peck on the CMP tie, double super effective damage. Get that Virizion out of here, back out. Comes Pidgeot. We're going to fire off the Thunderbolt on the CMP tie. Does the opponent respect the damage? Back-to-back big booms. Zapdos absolutely popping off. However, we've found disaster as they've got an Incinerate user in the back. We throw the first Drill Peck. Unfortunately, Incinerate takes me out. Oh man, it went from real good to real bad real quick. Clefable once again finds itself in a situation where it is completely walled, but I do have 2 Protect Shields to hide behind me. Correctly shield up the Blast Burn. We're going to need multiple moves to knock this thing out. So we're just going to go for the cheaper move of Meteor Mash. The opponent knows they completely wall me, so they opt to tank it. Again, we're going to call the Blast Burn. The opponent this time masturbates with the Thunder Punch. We're going to fire off yet another Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash will leave the opponent know they're forced to invest the protection. We're then going to pivot out into Sonic, force the opponent to send the Blast Burn. They're certainly now in Meteor Mash range. Blast Burn does secure the knockout with 2 Fairy Winds off the Meteor Mash, and Meteor Mash is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Holy shit. How do we beat Talonflame? I'll be honest, I've got no idea. I send out Zapdos. The opponent responds with Guzzlord. Guzzlord is insanely thick. Despite Shadow Zapdos having a pretty high attack, 2 Drill Pecks don't actually knock out. Although even if I want switch, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this Talonflame. We managed to force a Protect Shield. The opponent looking for the full Dragon Tail farm down. So we fire off 1 further Drill Peck, which does leave the opponent low, but I'm unable to Thundershock farm down. We have managed to get ourselves shield advantage in the mid game. Perhaps we can cook something. I doubt it, but we're in it to win it. Of course, we're just going to tank all these moves. Hopefully the opponent doesn't get the defense drop. However, after tanking the next crunch, we're probably in 1 Incinerate range, so I'm going to be forced to pivot. Let's go, Clefable. You're definitely going to be a Talonflame counter confirm. We're going to call this only a fly. The opponent full sends the Brave Bird. However, even if I shielded that, they've got Tentacruel in the back, so we're just going to concede and move swiftly on. In the next battle, we see Clefable in the lead. The opponent say switches into Gator. I couldn't go straight to Zapdos as the opponent would outspam me. So I'm thinking with the Shadow Claw damage, we're going to be able to just go straight Drill Peck all the way and hopefully maintain alignment. To be honest, I don't really need alignment as Clefable is obviously neutral. Sandslash also neutral. I just need to get rid of this very annoying alligator. We're going to fire off the Drill Peck. We can then go back to back, winning the charge attack priority. Is the opponent willing to go down both Protect Shields? Yes, they are. At this point, Zapdos has done its job. But this is Zapdos showcase. Fuck it. I'm investing that Protect Shield. We know we're going to be able to win the charge attack priority, but the opponent makes a savage catch, catching onto Jellicent. And that's what happens when you get horny. Shielding the big Donny. Sometimes you don't need to 2-shield the Donny. We're going to bank the Thunderbolt for the road and then pivot into Clefable. I actually remember this battle well. This opponent played really well. For Alligator has exited with a Hydro Cannon. And they will be winning CMP against Sandslash. We're going to fire off the Moonblast, securing the knockout. And you're going to see the opponent's energy management here is absolutely on point. Gator is 5 Shadow Claws to every Hydro Cannon. They're going to send back out Gator, throw 5 further Shadow Claws, maximise their energy, and they're again doubled up. This is again where I make a huge mistake. I think if I come in instantaneously, the opponent is still going to be switch locked. But I send back out Zapdos after waiting out my clock, and the opponent reads me like an absolute book, catching Onto Clefable, I bank the Drill Peck once again, pivot into Sandslash. If this move's lethal, I still win despite playing pretty poorly, but it evidently is not. The opponent's going to be able to take me out with a Meteor Mash. The only win con is that I've miscounted, or that's pretty easy to count to 5. So we're going to fire off the Drill Peck. The opponent probably in 1 Thundershock range, so it would actually be a tie rather than a win. But regardless, my counting was on point. Shout out me, who can count to 5 successfully. Very well played to that opponent, and we're going to take a loss. In the next battle, we see the Hungry Hippo in the lead, a Pokemon I have featured recently. An absolute phenomenal pick, and very slept on in the Ultra League. I go for the Ice Punch as soon as I get it, so the opponent makes a pretty easy catch. Although in fairness, when the opponent is using a 1-turn move, it's not like you can pause. So we just spammed it, hoped the opponent stayed in. They did not. They sent out Tapu Fini. Zapdos has a tasty little snack, coming in, getting that 1-hit KO. Chalk that one up on the boom meter as Zapdos is killing victims left, right and centre. The opponent smartly overfarmed before firing off the Rock-type Weather Ball, which of course will be knocking out. This is a non-shadow variant of Hippo. My Clefable is actually a rank 2, so insanely thick, but that Scorching Sand still did a lot of damage, and the opponent manages to debuff me as well. I'm just praying that Sandslash is good against whatever's in the back. I assume this is their anti-steel type in the lead. We fire off the Meteor Mash, secures the knockout, out comes Drapion. We're able to reach the Meteor Mash before the opponent Poison Sting farms me down. This means I can just go straight Ice Punch all the way, and we should outpace as long as the opponent doesn't have Aqua Tail. I'm never going to shield the first move in case the opponent gets the defense drop, which of course they do. Although in fairness, I'm not entirely sure what a defense drop does for the opponent, as they're not going to be able to Poison Sting farm me down, or at least not before I'd fall asleep anyway. The opponent fires off yet another crunch, revealing they don't have Aqua Tail, because if they had it, they'd be throwing it. We're just going to shield this up. We lose CMP, but we don't give the opponent a free Poison Sting, so you know the drill. The first Ice Punch will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Sonic the Hedgehog going to be able to outpace to the next Ice Punch, and we're going to be able to take that game. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Sonic into Venusaur, a fantastic lead. The opponent switches into Swampert, a very spammy pest. So I'm going to fire off the Ice Punch before the opponent reaches the Hydro Cannon, looking for some chip and dip action. The opponent actually chooses to invest the Protect Shield, and we send out Clefable. The opponent running ABA Shadows, or perhaps it's ABC Shadows. We're about to find out, but I'll be honest, I'm so hyped how many trainers are now using Shadow Pokemon. They used to be spicy, and now people know they're not here to take part, they're here to take over. The opponent 2-shield Swampert, as is a Zapdos showcase. We're just going to put it all on Zapdos. We're going to send back out Sonic. If the opponent wishes to Earthquake me, they can enjoy themselves. Does the opponent full send? Yes, they do. The opponent nukes me through 2 Protect Shields, and I was actually super happy with that, as you love to see it. We're now going to send out Zapdos, of course. I am going to start shielding. We shield up the Hydro Cannon. We're going to overfarm before firing off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck will be removing Swampert from the field of play. We know Venusaur cannot return. What's that third? The opponent thinking about what to send out. Send back out Venusaur, then try their luck catching onto Shadow Charizard. Triple Shadows. What a beautiful team. But Charizard going to be straight in and straight out. Back out comes Venusaur, and Zapdos running rampant. Drill Peck isn't quite lethal. We can just shield up whatever the opponent throws. The opponent actually going to full send the Sludge Bomb, hoping I shield flex. We do not. We Thundershock farm down and take that game. In the next battle, normal service has resumed with someone running the very basic bitch Giratina. They say switch into Waterfall Empoleon. What do I do against this? I guess I'm going to opt to stay in. We'll shield up the Hydro Cannon. We're going to 1 and throw the Drill Run for good timing. 2-turn into a 3-turn move. Of course, it is 1, 4 or 7. With that in mind, I'm going to throw the next one after 4 Shadow Claws. The opponent chooses to 2-shield, and after Zapdos running rampant in the last battle, we're just going to sacrifice it to the Pokegods. You can see Hydro Cannon, even from a non-shadow variant of Empoleon, does a lot of damage. I Thundershock it into a range where Drill Peck will be lethal, and we give pretty minimal farm for the returning Giratina. The opponent does send out Giratina. It would have been nice to get off the Drill Peck, but it's not really necessary, as you have 2 very hard checks for Giratina. I actually opt to send out Clefable, as this little fluffy fairy is essentially the team's damage sponge. It's far bulkier than Sandslash. You can see that Shadow Sneak does absolutely nothing. The opponent sends out Cresselia. I told you these two are little buddies. People love to run these bulky pests together. We throw the Moonblast pivot into Sonic, going for that wham bam combo play, firing off the Drill Run. Drill Run gets the opponent into a range where one move from Clefable will be enough to knock out. Of course, I'm never shielding this move up. The opponent takes me out. We send back out Clefable, go for the Moonblast. Moonblast, get same type attack bonus from Clefable. The opponent might think they're thick, but evidently not thick enough. Just Giratina does return, and I've got no idea why the opponent doesn't top left. We've already seen that Shadow Sneak doesn't do a lot of damage. The opponent tries their luck, masturbating, killing a poor defenseless cat, throwing the double resisted Dragon Claw that I think actually healed me. We of course full send the Moonblast as I've got no protect shields, too hard behind. Again, I'm not going to shield this. The opponent goes to the correct move of the Shadow Sneak. We tank it, Fairy Wind farm down and take that game. Oh boy, here we go again. Typhlosion I stay in to check the quick move on the off chance they're running Shadow Claw. Of course, they are not. They send out Tapu Fini. You need a Meteor Mash and a Moonblast to knock out. So you should go for the Meteor Mash second and the Moonblast first, because Moonblast has a 10% chance to lower the opponent's attack. It's unlikely, but that would be the optimal play. The opponent fires off the Nature's Madness. I overfarm before firing off the Moonblast. The opponent gives me switch advantage, but we have absolutely nothing to hard punish that Typhlosion. They pivot out into Guzzlord, trainer. Guzzlord straight in and straight out. We pivot into Zapdos, not allowing the opponent any free farm. Of course, at this point, I'm crapping my pants and shielding everything. The opponent full send a Blast Burn. That's a bit excessive. We don't even tank a Thunder Punch particularly well, but I'm certainly not complaining. We fire off the first Drill Peck, forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield. The second Drill Peck forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. And we very much have a win con. We're just going to tank this move. Sandslash is at full health, so we're going to be able to survive enough Incinerates to reach the drill run. I think the opponent could have won this game, but it is what it is. I'm not complaining. We reach the drill run on the CMP side, of course. I'm just going to shield up whatever they throw again. They full send a Blast Burn. I'm not entirely sure why, but we're going to take the win. GG's to that opponent. And that is going to draw to a close today's showcase. Would I recommend this team? Probably not, but you can see in certain situations Zapdos is certainly fun. Ultra League is the bulkiest league of them all, but Zapdos can make quick work of many top meta threats. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.